Enterprise. I'm coming to you again to talk to you about the Child Independent Care Credit. Let me get information. Our email is info@enterprise. Look at me trying to read the screen. No, I know my email by heart. Okay. Our email is info@sparksenterprise.org. And it's right here. Let me see if I can do it. Okay. My cell phone number is 3749-4591. Please feel free to reach out to me. Like I always say, you don't have to be my client. I will still provide you whatever information I have knowledge of. And if I can't help you, I'll be like, I'm sorry, I don't know. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Child Independent Care Credit. Okay, so it's changed up a little bit. Used to, prior to now, only way you could actually claim that credit is if you actually owe taxes into the IRS. And then part of it would link those taxes depending on how much money you make, your earned income. Okay, so I just grabbed me a little information off the IRS site. This is no information that I'm making up. This is just straight from the IRS site. All right. It talks about the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, enacted on March 11, 2021. And it just pretty much make the credits larger. Typically, for this credit, it normally would only help you if you owe taxes, and like I said before. So now you can receive $4,000. But keep in mind, in order for you to receive the $4,000, you have to claim $8,000 in expenses. And if you have 2 or more qualifying dependents, you can claim $8,000. Okay, so what that means is if you pay daycare and you got 1 dependent, and with that 1 dependent, let's say you was out of $4,000 for daycare, you would get $2,000 back because you get half that money back up to $8,000 claim. Okay, so I think I messed up, but whatever. So if you look at it this way, okay, so you get max $4,000 for 1 dependent. 2 or more, max is going to be $8,000. But you can only claim up to $8,000 in expenses that they're going to cover, and they'll pay half of that. So, like I said before, if you pay $4,000 in expenses, you're only going to get $2,000. You pay $12,000, you're only going to get $4,000 for 1 dependent. Now, if you pay $12,000, 2 dependents, and it doesn't matter how the amounts are allocated, and we'll go through that in a little bit. It doesn't matter if you pay $10,000 for 1 dependent and $2,000 for the other one, you will still get half of that money, so that'll be $6,000, and it's because you have 2 or more qualifying people. Okay. Then I'm just gonna put these up because I took a little time out. The most important thing is refundable, of course. Okay. Oh, there is a phase out. The phase out is if you make more than $438,000, you won't get this credit. Okay, so I started going down the list of the questions, and I said, well, let me just show y'all where this information comes from. And voila. All right. So all you would do is go to the IRS website. Okay. And it's called a Form 2441. So let's put that in. I'm just showing y'all how to get to the site, and I got something else I'm going to show y'all. All right. We have a Q&A. Okay, so they have not came out with the publications that I'm aware of. They are in the process, so hopefully soon, because normally I would go to like a big old book and read through it. But anyways, here they got all the questions and answers. Okay, so you would go through those questions. Am I eligible to claim the credit? Okay, y'all know I'm a little extra, so of course I've already done that part. Let me see with my screen. Okay, perfect. It looks good. Okay, so I've already done this part. I highlighted a little bit. I got me a little pen. It's neat. I love it. Okay. But anyways, it tells you about the Child Independent Care Credit. It's a tax credit that helps you pay for eligible children. Okay, cool. We already talked about that. Am I eligible? Yes, you're eligible as long as you work, or they even have it that if you were looking for work. Ain't that nice? Okay. And then also they say, however, if you're legally separated or living apart from your spouse, you may be able to file a separate return and still claim that credit. All right. I'm just going to scroll on down. This right here, question 3, tells you what information you need to get from the child care provider. Typically, daycare centers will give you a form which shows the amount of money that you pay for the year, and it'll also list what child, and then it will list their taxpayer identification number. Now, if you will get on down some more, who is the qualifying person? Your dependent who's under the age of 13. Your spouse, only if your spouse is not, isn't mentally or physically able to care for himself. Okay, a person who isn't mentally or physically able to care for himself or herself lives with you for more than half the year, and either. So that means you can have an aunt, uncle, you can have a friend. It wouldn't really matter as long as that person is unable to take care of themselves and you provided, majority of their support. And then it also breaks down. I even put a question mark because I'm like, huh? And then I thought about it, maybe. Would have been your dependent except he or she receives more than a certain gross income. The amount is $4,300 for 2021, or he or she files a joint return, or your spouse, in the case of a joint return, can be claimed as a dependent on someone else's return. That took me for a loop. I'm gonna have to look into that some more. What is physically mental? We already know. Physically or mentally not able to care for oneself, we know that. Okay, so they have more questions on here, more answers. I'm going to scroll down because I don't feel like these relate to whoever I'm making these videos for. And if they do relate to you, please feel free to go to that website, irs.gov, type in 2441. They got everything for you. Okay, so here is one. I have two qualifying persons, and this is what I was talking about earlier. I incurred more than $16,000 in work-related expenses for the child care of one of them, and none for the other one. Okay. Am I subject to the higher $16,000 work-related expense limitations for two or more, even though my expenses were only for one? That wasn't the example that I gave earlier. But this is something good too. Because you have two or more qualifying persons, you are subject to the higher 16,000. So if you have more than two people that you're claiming and their dependents, they both qualify, then you're subject to the 16,000. So that means you would qualify to receive 8,000. For 2021, can I take the full credit even if my credit exceeds the amount of taxes I owe? Yes, it is refundable. So even if your credit exceeds the amount of federal income tax that you owe, you can still claim this credit. This is the great news. Okay. I'm going to keep on going down. Okay, nice. My spouse was out of work during the year. Can we still claim the credit? Maybe. Your spouse who's out of work during the year must be actively looking for employment, and on the work-related expenses must and the work-related expenses must be incurred so that you and your spouse can look for work, as discussed in question 18. Then you also have this one. My spouse was a student or unable to care for himself or herself and didn't work. There may be, you got special earned income rules for students and those who are mentally, physically incapable of caring for themselves. And the good thing about the IRS site, they have all of this information for you to read up on. They have question answers, shoot, it's all there. What qualifies as a work-related expense? A work-related expense is an amount you pay for the care of a qualifying person. All right. Now, a lot of people ask me this. Okay, so what do I need? My main thing is they have these forms called W-10. And if you're paying like a regular person, mom, grandma, anybody, you need them to fill that out and you need the correct information on there. I pay my mother to watch my children during the day. Does this count as work-related expense? Yes, unless you claim your mother as a dependent. As long as mama's not a dependent, that's fine. Now, you cannot, of course, you cannot pay your spouse to watch your child. That sounds nice. And you cannot pay the parent of that qualifying person to watch the child. And then also, you cannot pay one of your dependents or one of your children who's under the age of 19 at the end of the year, even if the child isn't your dependent. And you cannot pay a person who was your spouse at any time during the year. All right. My child is enrolled in private kindergarten. Are the expenses to attend private kindergarten work-related expenses? No. And it tells you why. Expenses to attend kindergarten or a higher grade level are not expenses for care. Okay. Was that it? Okay, now the after-school care, that does count. It says expenses paid for before and after school care of a child in kindergarten or in a higher grade level are expenses for care and therefore are work-related expenses. I don't need to save that. Okay, so to wrap up, I always say I will make these videos short. To wrap up, this is the nice credit. This is something that is new. Typically, typically, if you don't owe any taxes, you wouldn't see this credit. And people bring this to me, they bring their daycare form. I'll input it, but whenever we go down the list, they say, well, did daycare do anything? I paid a lot in daycare. Oh, well, you don't owe any taxes. I mean, would you rather owe taxes and then let daycare take care of it? But whatever. This is great. So, again, if you have more qualifying dependents, you can claim up to 16. You can claim up to 16,000. Mean you will be refunded 8,000. But word of advice: if not saying that you plan to do this or anybody else plans to do this, but think about this. If you make 10,000 for the year and you claim 2-3 dependents, I'm not sure how in the world are you going to claim 16,000, So, now if you are actively looking for work and this and that, listen, just be careful this year, y'all. And I'm going to wrap up with that. I'm not going to go on. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Again, here's my information. It's our email and my phone number. See you on the next video.